welcome to St Andrews with Michael, with Malcolm, with Percy, and with who's been relegated.
And the jingle.
And the jingle.
Excellent. Some great readings.
2 wonderful readings.
And I never knew about the whole brick thing. So where's that been for the last 50 years?
It's the level of pressure. And it's fun how for the longest time I didn't find those verses relatable. And then now suddenly they're quite relatable. All the pressure restrictions, one side pushes from one side, the other side is like, oh, because you want to do this, then I'm going to do that, and then this is going to happen. And then the people actually perceive the consequences, the negative consequences, as Moses' fault, where it's not his fault, it's the Pharaoh's decision.
We should say this is Exodus 4.
Yes, we should say
starting
that.
to read verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
And it's consultations between Moses and Pharaoh, and the whole thing about bricks. Amazing.
And the fact that they, it is good. Moses is being faithful to God. He's doing what God's asked him to do. He goes to the people, he says, and they say, yeah, go for it. He goes to Pharaoh, and suddenly the whole situation gets far worse first.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it's so sort of unreasonable, and everyone's sort of just going a little bit nuts.
And then they all have a go at Moses and say, it's all your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what he was afraid of, when he was arguing with God back and forth, like, what if this and what if that? And then he got his worst nightmare.
But the heart goes out to Moses, doesn't it? He sort of just wants to sort of be kind of left alone in a way, doesn't he?
Yes.
It's like, why am I having to do all this? And every time I say something, it just makes everything worse. And then all the elders leave the meeting with Pharaoh and say, oh, don't you go in there again, because you just, whenever you speak to Pharaoh, it makes everything worse for all of us.
Yeah.
So much pressure.
But I love it. It's the Israelite straw crisis, isn't it? Really, I mean,
Absolutely. It's a situation. The situation is bad. Mm-hmm. Moses goes in, and they all think, "Oh, it's going to get better," but it doesn't. It goes worse first.
Yeah.
Well, it is a little comforting to see that it has to get worse sometimes before it gets better. That the power that had things bad, it is not going to just let go without retaliation. So, anytime there is this confrontation, I guess there is this comforting. Yeah.
Thing. And then moving on to the second passage, very short, but this is my famous. This is what I love calling the rabbit passage.
The rabbit passage.
The rabbit passage.
And it
Hebrews
from
10.
Yesterday, doesn't it? The first part was very interesting about the shadow of the law.
Yes,
and it carries on.
But it says there's forgiveness of sins.
Yeah,
It says you're forgiven, and it's the rabbit passage because there's lots of lettuces here.
No, okay.
Okay.
I like that.
So let us approach with true heart in full assurance of faith. So in other words, because we're forgiven, we can go to God.
Right. But I love this thing. It says, let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds. I love this idea, like provoke. I'm going to provoke you. It's like Pharaoh was provoked and he didn't do good deeds. He actually started getting nasty and saying, you guys have got to go and collect your own straw for the bricks. But I love this idea. It's like, here's another form of provoking. I'm going to provoke you to go and do good things.
It adds a level of intensity to how we can approach good things and to how... I would like to understand what it feels like to be provoked to do a good thing. Yeah.
I like that. Let's go provoke
we
someone.
should try
Provoke someone
model
today
that.
to do good things. I'm provoking you.
And then one other let us approach let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering. For he who has promised is faithful. Again, holding, so we can come to God with confidence because we're forgiven. We can hold fast. We're called to hold fast to this hope that we've been given, and we're called to provoke one another.
What is venture? And what you said, I think it was on Monday, about how when the temple, the curtain was ripped in two. It's actually, it made the front and the back, or the two spaces, now kind of like one. And that's very interesting, how that is kind of, we're all invited in.
It talks about the veil being torn. I really love those. There's
a very interesting comment I picked up somewhere. It said the high priests in the old days, when they entered the temple, that was actually was actually a more fearful thing. He went with fear and trembling, because if he had neglected the smallest item, you could expect nothing.
It's said that they would go in once a year into the Holy of Holies, only the high priest, and they even had a rope attached to them.
Really?
So that if they were struck down dead, they could be pulled out without anybody.
Well, there we go. That's a level of fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then this carries on and says, genuine believers now can come even to the throne of God with confidence. It's actually very interesting. I'd never thought much about that.
Yeah, it's hard for us to appreciate the magnitude of the gift of the
Yeah,
veil, because
it's
we
true.
were not the ones who've been cleansing and, years and years on end to be able to go there once a year, and now it's easy for us to come together in prayer, to have our cat,
Yeah, exactly. It's that one of those things we can't perceive how it was before.
Yeah.
It's like we all drive cars. We can't imagine what it was like to live in a city where everyone was on horseback. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for your comment. Percy, you were absolutely
Percy's
useless
great.
today. No, he wasn't. He was
But he
useless.
didn't do anything. He sat there. and
He
just
sat there. He
listened,
didn't
which is-
say anything. He didn't contribute a
He
thing.
could have got up and started sort of being destructive.
I know. I suppose so. Anyway, bless you. Have
We're
a
going to provoke Percy to do good things.
yeah. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Bless you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.